Hello Stampers! I've got a fun project for you today. I'm going to show you how to build this scene. This is a terrific autumn scene with lots of color, and I think you can use a scene card for about any occasion. So I put thinking of you on here, but you can certainly use about any sentiment you wanted to. I used the go-to greetings for the sentiment, and I used a big thinking of you, but you could use the happy birthday, just a note, thank you, or any other sentiment. But I would choose something that's big and bold to go along the bottom here, just so you can see it really well and it stands out from this terrific scene that we have going on here. So we're going to start, and I'm going to teach you how to build these trees up so that you get these light colored leaves in front of a darker background, and that just makes them pop. So we're going to use Emboss Resist for this, and we're going to use the Beauty of Friendship stamp set. This has a wonderful tree in it, and we're just going to be using this detailed leafy part of the tree and then the trunk of the tree. So I have a piece of basic white here that's 3.5 by 5. You can find all the dimensions down below this video, along with all the links to the products that'll take you to my online store. So I have 3.5 by 5 basic white, and we're going to use Versamark. And first of all, we're going to use crushed curry. We're going to use crushed curries for our yellow leaves. And I'm going to use this detailed leaf stamp, and I'm going to load it first with Versamark and then with my crushed curry. And then I'll stamp it. And now I've found this doesn't bother my ink pads at all when I do this. I get asked that about every time I do this. So this is called Emboss Resist. So we're going to load our stamp with Versamark, load it with our ink, which is crushed curry, cardstock here. Now I'm going to go ahead and clean my stamp, and then I'm going to load it again with Versamark, load it with that crushed curry, and then I'm going to turn it upside down. I want some more leaves up here at the top. So I turned it upside down, and I'm stamping it upside down just to fill in a little more. Again, I'm going to clean my stamp, repeat the process of Versamark, then the ink, and I'm going to fill in this other corner. I wanted a lot of leaves up there. So now I'm going to clean my stamp, and we're going to switch out ink colors. And we're going to go to Real Red for our red leaves. So again, we're going to do Versamark, load with Real Red, stamp these here on the right side. And then I'm going to clean my stamp, repeat that process, add some more, and then I want to add some more leaves up here. And I think I just want a few more. So I'm going to do that process again. And I'm going to put some right here, kind of mingling into those yellow leaves a little bit. Okay, so that's all we want with that. Put my ink pads up here. And we're going to bring in a heat tool. And some clear embossing powder. I love clear embossing powder because you can, and Versamark, because you can emboss in whatever color ink you have. You don't have to have a whole bunch of different colored embossing powders. That Versamark is what makes your ink sticky so that your powder will stick to it. So there we have that on there, and I'm going to go ahead and heat this up. And I'm just heating this just till it gets shiny. Now you don't want to overheat. If you overheat, your embossing will sink down into the paper, and then it won't resist the ink we're going to put on top of it. Okay, now that we have our images all embossed and are nice and shiny, we're going to move on, and we're going to start putting in our background colors here. So what I'm going to start with is I'm going to bring in some So Saffron. This is a nice bright yellow, and that's where our really good light comes from. So I'm going to make a nice bit of So Saffron here. And I'm also going to bring it down here at the bottom. So that's our nice bright yellow. And I'm going to bring our crushed curry in. And I'm going to bring that crushed curry in around this yellow here. Just on both sides. I'll leave that nice bright area there. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same up here. I'm going to go all over those embossed images and come down on the sides. I'm leaving the nice bright color here in the center so it pops. Okay, so that was our crushed curry. And don't worry at this point that those crushed curry leaves aren't popping out right now. They will when we start getting darker and darker with our background colors. So next we're going to add some Cajun craze. Again with a blending brush. And I'm going to add some of this right here in the center. Now this is like our ground area. So you want to make sure you leave some room in between this color that we're putting in here and your leaves. Okay, so there's our crushed curry, and I think I'm going to go ahead and put some up here over these leaves a bit. See, we're getting a little darker up here. And I'm going to add some of this down here just along these two corners. See how that light area is starting to pop more and more as we get darker and darker. And then I'm going to add a little red here. Actually, I'm going to use cherry cobbler, I think. I'm going to go with cherry cobbler for this, and I'm going to add some of this to just the bottom area of that little stripe that you put in. Now use a circular motion just so you don't get a complete racing stripe here. And I brought it along the bottom here. Now, let's take that Cajun craze, and we have this little dotted stamp here that we're going to use for our ground area. This is just like leaves on the ground, and we're going to use Cajun craze, and we're going to put it all over this area. And you can ink it up and then stamp a couple times. And you can tap it multiple times. We're just trying to get a bunch of, so where it looks like leaves all over here. Doesn't stand out real well, but it you'll see when we're going to put some darker leaves at the base of that. We're going to use our cherry cobbler for that, and we're going to start putting in some dark leaves down here at the bottom, and that will push those lighter leaves like they're in the background some. And all of these little tips will give you some depth in your scenes. So kind of always think about, you know, lighter background, darker images towards the front. Okay, so there's our ground area. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and stamp my tree trunks here. And I'm using early espresso for this. And this is our ground area, so this, you want to make sure that the bottom of your trees are in that ground area there. So I'm stamping one here. And see how it looks like it's on top of the leaves right now? It's going to disappear here in a minute. This one I'm going to stamp on this side, and I'm going to stamp it a little higher than that other one. So that will be like a tree that's further back. I'm going to do that same thing over on this side. There we go. I'm going to have to bring that down a little bit because I got down too far. It's okay. We just adjust it. Add a little more cherry cobbler down there. That's what's nice about ink. You can just go ahead and fix it if you think it needs it. Okay, so we have that early espresso on there. And see how it's on top of the leaves? Well, we're going to use a circular motion just with a paper towel. And we're going to wipe that off of the embossed images. See how that sends that back behind the leaves? Looks much more natural than it just hanging out on top of the leaves. Okay, so there's that. And I'm going to add some cherry cobbler, I think, behind our red leaves to get them to pop a little more. We're going to get a little darker here. There we go. And then I think I'm going to add some soft suede in there also at the top. So fun to play with colors. I'm going to just use a blending brush for this. I'm going to do some soft suede here behind these yellow leaves, and that brings them forward. And then I'm going to add some dark up here. I might even go darker. I think I'm going to go even darker yet and do early espresso. And add some of that up here in this corner and get really dark. See how that brings those leaves forward. I'm liking that. There we go. And I think I need just a few more cherry cobbler leaves down here since I extended our ground down. Get a little darker. There we go. Too fun. All right. Now I want a little reflection with our tree trunk here. Just gonna clean my stamp for this tree trunk. And then I want to use some crumb cake. And I'm gonna do some trees in the background. Okay, I want some trees back here. Kind of in between the trees that we have. And those are trees that are further back, so they're lighter in color. Okay, I think that's all I need up there. Okay, I'm cleaning my stamp again. And I want it to look like there's a bit of reflection down here. So I'm going to add crushed curry tree trunks, and I'm going to stamp this upside down. And I'm going down below that ground level. I just want the end of the stamp to be right at the bottom of that ground level there. If you don't hit your mark, you can stamp over it. There we go. That gives you a bit of a reflection look for these dark trees. All right, moving right along here. See how our scene's just coming together and we just kept getting darker and darker back here. All right. And I'm going to do more sentiment, I think, in early espresso. Again, you can use any sentiment you want, but I would do something bold, big and bold for this. Otherwise, it'll kind of get lost in your scene. There we go. I'm liking that. So pretty. Okay. So guess what? We have our scene all done. And what a fall scene this is. Looks great. Okay, so we're going to add this to a early espresso panel that is just a 1/4 inch larger than our main image panel is. So this is 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. I'm just going to put this together with our multi-purpose glue here. Layer that up. And I love how that dark outline just helps bring your eye into your scene. All right, so we have that, and I'm going to add some ribbon to this. Just along the top here. I don't want to cover too much of my scene up. So I like this ribbon that you can see through. And this is the satin edged ribbon. This is gold. Just going to cut a piece that's a little wider than our panel here. And I'll put it up here at the top. And I'm just going to flip it over. I'm going to add some mini glue dots to this. You just need one for each side. Just make sure you press that ribbon into it well. Okay, so there that is. Then I have a Mango Melody card base. It's 5.5 by 8.5, and I folded it in half for my quarter card. And inside I have an early espresso panel that's 4 by 5.25, and then another Mango Melody panel that's 3 3/4 by 5. And then we're going to put this on the front, and we're going to have it kind of over to the right side. I wanted to have like a wider edge here showing. This is a very simple layout, and I keep it simple just so that my scene doesn't like get lost in a busy layout. You put some work into that little scene, so you don't want to cover it up with a bunch of stuff, right? So there is that, and then I just need a little piece of ribbon to tie at the top here. I'm sliding it under my ribbon that's already on there. Give it a quick tie. And if your tie is not going the way you want it, tie it one more time. And the little legs will come down this time. There we go. Just give them a little trim. And there's your beautiful fall scene card all finished. I hope you enjoyed this project and that you give it a go. Just go through it step by step and you're going to end up with a wonderful card. Thanks for joining me. Take care. Bye.